So we don't know what the next 3.5, 4 years is going to look like. And we don't want to sit on the sidelines, but it is a good time to make sure you have your financial house in order, keep your powder dry, be looking for opportunities, understand what your game plan is, and stick to what you know.
How do you find the will to fight back against a world that wants to keep you sedated, average, and stuck in place? Join us for the tools and strategies you need to create a life of abundance, discipline, and high achievement. This is the Tactical Empire with Jeff Smith.
Welcome to another episode of the Tactical Empire. I am joined by Sean Ryder today. How are you, man?
Ooh, good times. Good times. I'm being honest with the people. We just rolled out of the episode on what's on Jeff Smith's mind, and it was exhilarating. I loved it.
I just felt like I just taught Sean current events. That's it.
Yeah.
International current events.
Something that keeps me up at night all the time. International current events. No, there's a reason why I live 3 to 5 miles outside of town. It's nice and quiet. Nothing keeps me up at night. I love it. But man, I was excited to record these episodes today. I thought they were going to be unique. Your episode, which we recorded first, did not disappoint. It plays into some of the things I was going to bring up today, but it added a little spice to it. It kind of like reinforced some of the reasons why I have some of the feelings I'm having about the actions that I've taken year to date. So usually I'm the one that presents the topic of the day. So let me introduce the topic for today, which is going to be hyper-focused on me, which is the last episode was what was on Jeff Smith's mind in August of 2024. Today's episode, we're going to flip the script, and it's going to be what has been on Sean Ryder's mind in August 2024. So if you didn't listen to Jeff's episode first, I think you're going to want to listen to that one first, and then it'll kind of play into this one a little bit into why I am thinking the things that I'm thinking. So, on your episode, you said you kind of compartmentalize things into the 4 F's, which is what I do as well, right? We want to take control of our own areas of life, which are family, fitness, finances, and freedom. And none of that inside of your own household really plays into macroeconomics and what's going on in the world. But you have to understand what's going on in the world. And you said it on the last episode that we have to understand the rules that we're supposed to be playing by. And being at peak chaos right now, leading into an election year with everything that's happened, not only from an entrepreneurial standpoint or, a high W-2 income earner or investor standpoint, no one knows who's one leading the country right now, or two going to be leading the country come January 1st, because we haven't elected anyone yet. And so we don't know what the next 3.5, 4 years is going to look like. And we don't want to sit on the sidelines, but it is a good time to make sure you have your financial house in order, keep your powder dry, be looking for opportunities, understand what your game plan is, and stick to what you know. And it's interesting that you said that on the last episode, because year to date, January 1 to August 5, 2024, I've made a lot of changes in my life. January 1st, like life was good. Income between me and my spouse, not only from active income, but investments were at all-time highs. We owned a CrossFit gym that, didn't recover from 2020, but was steady, was fine, but, wasn't really the thing that I didn't believe in the service anymore. I didn't believe in the philosophy and the methodology. So we wanted to make a change, and we made a change. I still own commercial real estate and Airbnbs. Just last week, we closed on the sale of one of our Airbnbs. And so I'm going to sit on that for a moment, because I'm waiting for the money to hit the bank account today, hopefully, because we close on Friday. And the reason why we did that was from a microeconomic standpoint. That was our oldest property, and we owned it for a year and a half, and it did really well. In a year and a half, it pulled over $100,000 of revenue. And thankfully we didn't have a mortgage on the property. So very minimal expenses against that 100,000. But I was in a position where I wanted capital. So I was looking at cash out refining that property. And interest rates are high, which doesn't scare me. But I started to look at the comps of the other properties that were selling in that area. And I thought that I could get more capital out by selling the property 100% instead of getting 75% financing, because the appreciation on the property went up. So we sold it. We had to pay some fees and commissions, and I gave some credits after the inspection came back, which kind of reinforced why we were selling it, because it was the oldest property. I like to know what's going to happen, and I didn't want to feed that property to make it better in the next 12 months. So the inspection, which I think I got out scot-free. I mean, the credit I gave to them from what they found in the inspection was, I think it was a good move on my part. But I still came out ahead. Okay. So what that did for me was it gave me the capital, and it gives me cash to make a move. And that move that I'm going to make right now is pay off my life insurance loans and the HELOCs that I've been using to fund my other investments. So full transparency with the people listening. In the past 7 months, I have used life insurance loans, HELOCs, some cash, some moving money around here or there. And me and my wife still have active income, still have a good savings rate. We have invested just shy of $500,000 in a variety of projects. And if someone asks me, what's on your mind, Sean? And this may be a first world problem, but it's currently what I'm going through. And some of the guys in the inner circle are making moves that are in the same spot. So I apologize if you're upset with my position in life, but that's your problem to deal with, not mine. The money that we've invested now, this is the first time that I've ever made investments that aren't putting money in my pocket today. If you go back and listen to other episodes, and the reason why I made my investments over the past 3 years that I have is because I was buying income. Now, the investments that we're making, we are making them to buy income, but they're not making money today. And that was they're not supposed to make money today. So one is a hard money loan that will get paid out on in the next couple months with a good percentage rate of return. That money will flow back into our life. It will be a higher number than what we put out. Okay. That was project number one. Project number two was what I've been talking about on the podcast, which is a new real estate partnership, looking at BRRRRs in Texas. Those properties, we got our first 2, and we're looking at 2 more, buying cheap properties, cash, fixing them up, getting a tenant in place, and refinancing them. Well, they're in the process of getting fixed up right now. They don't have a tenant in place, and we haven't refied them out. We haven't gotten the money out. So they're not paying me today. Fine. And then the last one is starting a gym franchise business. A lot of money going into it on the front end to get it to the way it needs to look, to buy the things that we need to buy and hire the people that we need to hire. I think the potential upside to that is obviously higher than any of the real estate plays from an active income source. But again, money flowing out of my life, and it's not coming back into my life right now. Now, some of those will start paying off in the next couple months, which I'm excited about. And it doesn't, that in itself doesn't worry me. But what's interesting, and is an interesting feeling, which I'm not really searching for an answer for the feeling, it's just kind of like where I'm at, is what we talked about on your episode, which is shit's going on in the world and no one knows what the hell's going on. And so here we are trying to make investments, trying to drive economic value, not only for our family, but for the world. Like, we're buying housing and we're having affordable rents, and we're creating businesses to make people healthy, and we're lending money to other people to build something to give value to people that want whatever they're selling, right? Whatever they're providing. But there's these pressures, and there's these what ifs, and there's these, I still need access to capital because I don't know what's going to happen. So hopefully all that was coherent to tell kind of people where I've been at, is like a lot of money has been flowing away from me. And if that in itself doesn't relate to you because you don't have 50,000 or 150,000 or $500,000 or $5 million to invest, you can relate to the fact that money has been flowing away from you because inflation is at an all-time high. So you have been paying $120 to $125 for the same $100 worth of stuff that you had to buy last year. So no matter who you are, no matter what position you're in, more money is flowing away from you if you're trying to keep the same or improve your standard of living. So that principle, that thought, you can relate to without having, if your income hasn't risen at the same pace, you are feeling a crunch, so to speak, maybe a little bit different crunch than what I'm feeling. But it is like money's going away. And in this moment, not as much is coming towards me. So it's an interesting feeling. Jeff, where does your mind go as, listening to me, as you've been my mentor for years? There's other guys in the group making investments that may not be paying off today. Where's your mind go with that?
Yep. I like to use these down times, these chaotic times, to challenge myself mentally, whether
it is, yes,
whether you're actually in a bad. I artificially create urgency in times like this, because this is when true wealth is built and made. When chaos is reigning and no one knows what the fuck is going on, and no one knows where the fucking president is, and no one knows what the next move of the stock market is. If you are capable of continuing to keep your fucking head forward and move forward regardless, this is when you pop out of the backside of this thing a mile ahead of your opponents.
Yeah.
100 miles ahead financially of where you started this situation. And this is where, like, fortune favors the bold. And, like, so you making investments that may pay off in the future, that's just, you're maturing as an investor and understanding that, like, I mean, I hate to break it to you on this call, but, like, not all of them are always going to work out either. And once you take some licks in that arena and lose 6 figures a time or two, or 7 figures, like, holy fuck, man, you grow a different set of skin, and you understand that, like, all there is to do in this life is continue to move forward, because what's the alternative? And so, like, I'm super excited for you because you have taken a lot of action this year, and I do know that it's going to bear a lot of fruit.
I'm certainly, I want the listeners to know I'm very excited as well. I'm very excited about the investments that we have made. And that does reinforce what you're saying is, it's a new feeling for me, but it's not altering what I'm doing. It hasn't paralyzed me at all.
What I was saying, though, that during these downtimes like this, what I like to do is artificially manufacture urgency and scarcity for myself.
Yes.
So it's time to dial in your business. It's time to work that much harder. It's time to button up the back end, make twice the sales calls, and build something meaningful in a down market. And when you come out to a roaring economy, you benefit 10 times as much.
Dude, I built my first gym on a roaring economy. My first gym opened in 2012, and I had no clue what the fuck I was doing, dude. So I am excited about that, because I actually know some of the other gym owners in town, and their gyms are doing fine, but, like, psychologically they're scared. Like, they're scared for the moments right now. And I don't think scared is the right word for me. Because I do have and this kind of goes back. You said something, whether it was this episode or your episode, about the stock market. Like, yeah, the stock market, like, hit an all-time high 14 days ago. And then guess what? It's been a fucking bloodbath of a correction, and it's not done yet. And so what actually, even though I use the word of anxious and excited and these weird feelings right now because of the investment strategy change of not necessarily buying income on day one that we've been doing year to date. What I'm excited about is it reinforced the importance of the banking system that my family has created for ourselves. Because, like I said, I sold a property to get the capital, and I immediately, that's why I'm looking at my bank accounts today. As soon as that money hits the bank account, that money is going to leave that bank. Like, this is a local bank. They're going to see money flow in. They're going to get excited that they can lend that to someone at 8 to 12%. And before they even see it, it's going to be fucking gone and back in my banking system via high early cash value life insurance. And then guess what? When I need that capital, all I have to do is pull out my phone and fill out 3 to 5 questions, and it'll get wired back to where I need it to make the next investment that I need to make. And I don't need anyone's fucking permission for that.
Yep.
And so, like, times like this,
underwriting.
Yeah. This peak chaos moment just reinforces what we've been teaching people, and why, like, you can't wait for, like, not just January 1st and who's going to be, or whenever they get instated as the new president. Like, Because when January comes, there's going to be something else that's going to make you hesitate before you create your own system. Like, how many times, Jeff, have you talked to someone about what we preach? Like, well, I'm just waiting for this moment. Then that moment comes, then they have another reason, another excuse. Like, you guys have just been sitting on your hands. And like, the people who have followed our instructions on the 7 levels of financial freedom have put themselves in a position to be successful in this time of peak chaos. And I'm a living, breathing example of that. It doesn't mean my life's perfect. It doesn't mean I don't have these feelings on what's going on in the world right now. Like, I certainly feel it. I certainly feel it. Yes, I'm grateful for the position I'm in, but I still don't like going to a local restaurant and paying $20 for a fucking burrito bowl. Like, I'm not excited about that. I'm not excited about that. But let's not make the spotlight on me. I want to kind of think something else that's been on my mind is, and we've kind of talked about it on other episodes, but not necessarily as a pure topic, is like, I don't know how people are fucking making it right now, dude. Like, on the last episode, you said people need to stop shying away from these conversations and they need to, get out there and have conversations with their neighbors about politics or what the hell's going on. And I mentioned that the local restaurants are down 20 to 40% in revenue. Like, the people who can't fucking make ends meet, like, you guys, I don't know how you're making it. And I don't know why you're not in the streets. I don't know why you're not in the streets. I don't like, but they go to their boss and they're like, I need more money. Like, it's like, it's not your boss's job necessarily to just pay you more. Like, I don't think it's their job for that. It's a part of the flow of money, but like, you're hurting not because your boss won't pay you more. You're hurting because of fucking other people taxing us, creating more money and sending it outside of this country. That is why you're struggling to make ends meet. And I don't know why people aren't out fucking raising hell about this.
Because they're unaware. They're unaware at how the tax code works. And you talked about it on the last episode. I mean, you're taxed 200 different ways. You're taxed when you buy things. You're taxed when you gas up your car. Most people that are in the middle class or lower class look at everybody that's wealthier and they're like, oh, you just don't understand. You should pay 40% of your income. But 40% is not where it stops. You're taxed on everything you buy. You're taxed on your groceries. You're taxed on your taxes. We're taxed at businesses. You're taxed on your utilities if you own a business. So your utilities apply a tax. Like, we used to have trash cans at my gym, not even dumpsters, trash cans that came through our regular route. We had a $50 commercial tax on that trash can route. To dump one trash can, it costs $138. And so, Go ahead.
We have a tax. We have a tax on our dogs in my county. We pay taxes on our pets.
A lot of states pay personal property tax annually. So if you own a vehicle, yeah. And so, like, people just take for granted that, like, hey, we need to soak the rich. If you're a high income earner, you should just pay more in taxes. People don't understand how that works. So you use the example of going and asking your boss for a raise. If your boss gives you that raise, the boss has to then readjust the numbers of everything. So the next widget that goes out the door has to cost 30 cents more. And if you do that times 100 or times 1,000, what do you think the result is? It's the exact thing with, like, they just passed $20 minimum wage in California. And so these minimum wage jobs that are designed to be part-time jobs for teenagers or stepping stones to, like, actual skill sets to delivering value to the marketplace have now become full-time jobs for fucking adults, which is wild. But that said, they passed a law for $20 minimum wage, and now Big Macs are fucking $16. Yeah. And so, and they're already they're protesting and asking for another minimum wage increase. So they're clearly not learning the lesson. What people that are really, truly financially hurting need to understand is that our taxes, you, me, everybody else, we're all on the same page. We're all getting bled to death with this. And what we need to do is take the 536 people that are bilking us out of all the taxes, the only people that can make any decisions, that's Congress, for those of you that don't know what I'm talking about. And we need to be holding people accountable for that shit. there's no way we should be paying anything over 5 to 15% of our overall production. If there was just a flat tax on everything for 7%, everything you bought, everything you consumed, everything you made, you could do a flat tax. The problem is there's a bunch of leeches running our country who have never fucking ran anything or balanced a budget or ran a profitable business. And so we've got a real problem. And so I'm hoping that this whole last 4 or 5 years has been a wake-up call to enough people that what we want to do is completely gut the system, change it all around, and get a bunch of people my age, and not excluding anybody, but let's say 35 to 55 years old, that have been entrepreneurs, that have stayed out of the fucking limelight because we just want to be left the fuck alone and able to produce with a set of rules. But we've been apolitical. We stay out of shit that's not our problem until you fuck with my kids or whatever. But like at this point in time, that's what's going to revitalize this country, is like some real communication with some real dudes or women who have actually done some real shit, that are willing, that have thick enough skins to have conversations about stuff. We don't need involved in all these social policies. We need involved in like financial economics that can allow a robust and thriving system. And the government has no fucking place in all these social issues. And they have completely flipped it on the head to, they run on all these triggering events, which are solely social issues. Meanwhile, 3/4 of the country is fucking starving in the most robust economy we've ever fucking had, or whatever. It's not anymore, but like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. So, I mean, my thought is like, I feel sad for a lot of people. I'm empathizing for a lot of people. I just don't know how the average family is making it. And the honest fact, they're just not. They're not making it, but they're also not speaking out. I think Nelson Nash, who was, quote, the founder of the infinite banking concept, he wrote his book, Becoming Your Own Banker, in the early 2000s. He found the concept in like the late 70s, early 80s, but wrote the book in early 2000s. He said in that book, which is 24 years ago, he said in that book that every dollar you earn, you're taxed about 50% on it when you add in all the taxes that you pay. So every single dollar, you're adding economic value into the world. That is what your income is your economic value in the marketplace. So that's what I mean by that. Your economic value, 50% of that is going to wither away in some form of tax. Now, that was 24 years ago. It's worse now, number one. Number two, add in inflation. And like I've said on other episodes, every dollar you're paying today in inflation should not just piss you off because your grocery bill is higher. Every dollar you pay today for the same product that you bought last year is another dollar you cannot invest. So you're getting fucked more ways than one with every dollar that's flowing away from you in taxes and inflation. And something has to change. And you guys need to vote appropriately. Social issues, they're great, but social issues should not be in your top 3 on what you're voting on. I think it's the economy, the safety of your country and your town, and your tax rate, like your taxes. Like that's it. And then taxes is the economy, but I'm viewing those as 2 separate things. Like that, vote on that shit, because that is impacting fucking everyone. It's impacting everyone. That's all I got, Jeff.
Well, yeah. I agree with you. You can go on and eliminate the Fed as well. That would be a good idea. So
who knows? All right, brother. Well, I appreciate
that's ultimately what's devaluing our dollar. As we print more money and put more money into the money supply, it devalues the dollars that we have. And so people don't understand that. And that's okay. And I understand that. So I'm not shitting on anybody. I'm just saying that, like, we need some people to take responsibility to educate themselves enough to have some more conversations. If you're the guy who knows the information, try to dumb it down to a 4th grade level so that you can talk to more people about it. People need to understand what's going on because we are not living in a free and fair society at this point in time. And that's what's been promised to us. So I hate feeling like we deserve anything, but at the very least, being tax slaves to 500 people is not what all of us signed up for. And I certainly don't want that for my children. So if you're 40 years old and you have some kids, like, you have to understand what you're leaving for the generation behind us. So it's time to fucking not be quiet and have civil conversations so that we can make some meaningful difference.
Let's go, Jeff. Love it. Appreciate you, man. Send the people out.
Guys, like and follow us on YouTube. Join our private Facebook page and hit Sean and I up if you need anything. Have a kick-ass week. We will talk to you soon. Keep moving forward.